All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Kendall Coffee coming up at the bottom of the hour as we go spinning the law. A lot of interesting topics of conversation for today's segment. But first, we have a story which is kind of crazy if you want to know the truth. Josh Barry, who we hope to speak with momentarily, of Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, wants to know why the president of the local teachers union thinks that he's a neo-Nazi. Now, why would they think he's a neo-Nazi? Well, I don't know. He complained about a classroom assignment that he believed was biased. I guess in the minds of some of our fine educators in this country, that makes you a neo-Nazi. Barry says he's Jewish. His wife is half black, half white. And he says, I'm the furthest thing from a neo-Nazi. So last week, his daughter's 8th grade, and my son's in 8th grade. His daughter's 8th grade American history class of middle school was asked to analyze a New York Times story about the recent government shutdown. So Barry, who says he's a registered independent, read the story and then read a list of questions that were given to his daughter as part of the assignment. And he immediately determined that the assignment was just grossly slanted. And the worksheet included questions like, quote, to what issue do House Republican leaders insist on tying the federal budget? And whom do you hold most responsible for the government shutdown? Now, so let's get to Barry right now. We have him? Okay. Hello, Josh. I said Barry. Hello, Josh. How are you?
Good. How are you doing, Steve?
Good. So I'm telling the folks a little bit about your story, and I'm up to the point here where your daughter. I have a son who's in the 8th grade, and I've seen things in the textbook, and I don't want to go into detail, but he wrote an article for the school newspaper last year, and then a part of it mentioning Obama was gone, and no one in the faculty could tell me exactly who was responsible for that. So I know what's going on. But talk about you saw the worksheet, you read the stuff, you saw the questions, and what happened then?
So I saw the questions, and I was always taught to be a critical thinker. So I mean, even every now and then, even from both sides of the aisle, right side, left side, you can get a pretty balanced article every now and then. So accidental acts of journalism. So I did look at the article pretty critically, and reading through it, you can see that just a point to counterpoint quote ratio, it was like 9-2 against the Republicans. So I mean, you would have you'd had all these quotes from Harry Reid, no counterpoint, and the things that were in the article weren't necessarily lies because but there's a technique that they use, it's called fact omission, where you leave important facts out or important quotes out from certain people, and it changes the interpretation by the reader. But when they go and check on those facts, it looks accurate. So they say, oh, well, this is true because this fact is accurate. But instead they use that technique in journalism. We're all aware of it, anybody that's awake and paying attention. So, I immediately read the worksheet, and there were some really improperly premised questions on there. We can go in detail if you want later. But I emailed the school board, and I emailed the teacher expressing my concerns, and I got back from the teacher a non-answer. The teacher made it about a literacy assignment.
I'm sorry. I was going to say I think that non-answer, as you put it, speaks volumes about what they're trying to do under the guise of a literary exercise when it's filled with political bias.
Right. And I shot back another email, and this was a very lengthy email, basically dissecting what he said, and then I started quoting the Code of Conduct from the Pennsylvania Educators Code of Conduct, and I started quoting, and then Pennsylvania Educators Code of Conduct, and I started quoting, and then under lies, which I didn't get a response to that. The very next day, I called the principal. The principal did not want to meet with me without the superintendent there, and the teacher. So, I left it there. And then I did get a call the very next day from the principal who changed his mind to offer me a meeting, which I said, well, I'm not going to be able to change his mind to offer me a meeting, which I said, well, I'm not going to be able to question. I said, do you think this article was slanted or biased in any way? And he said, absolutely not. Which, and then I said to him, because I had already basically copied the text of the article and dissected it, and I highlighted text of my own opinion, basically outlining, using a tally system, just destroying the perception that it's unbiased.
Right.
But, I said to him, I said, I could meet with you and I could really put on display how this is, a completely biased.
Right.
But, I said to him, I said, I could meet with you and I could really put on display how this is, a completely biased. Regarding my lengthy email regarding the code of conduct, he said, I've raised 4 boys, and I take great offense to what you said in that email, which, I didn't offend anybody. I basically just took the code of conduct apart and applied it to the situation.
Right. What you weren't saying anything about him. But we're talking to Josh Barry, father, Pennsylvania father, who was called a neo-Nazi by a teachers union official after complaining about a bias incident in the classroom assignment. And now talk about what happened on Friday when this all, when this accusation or these words were uttered to a friend of yours.
Yeah. Leading up to that, I just want to finish the point where I told the principal I could address the bias in the article. And he said to me, now keep in mind, he just said that the New York Times article is not biased.
Right.
And he said to me, and I'm paraphrasing here, but I'm going to be pretty close. He said, I don't care what you bring in, what articles you bring in, it's all biased. So here in one breath, he's saying that the New York Times article is not biased. However, anything else that you put in front of him is going to be biased.
Right.
So I went to, that was the end of it. We agreed that the next time we would see each other would be with the superintendent and the principal and himself, the principal and the teacher. So we're trying to set this meeting up, and Friday rolls around. I'm down in D.C. having a good time with my friend who came in from Oklahoma to visit D.C. The first time I get a call from a friend of mine, and this mutual friend says to me, you're not going to believe the voicemail that I just got. And some teacher in your school says to me, you're not going to believe the voicemail that I just got. And some teacher in your school, a neo-Nazi or something. And I said, who? What? I mean, to me, it didn't even make sense because, who is this teacher? Keep in mind, I've never heard of this person before.
Right.
This teacher teaches in the high school. I've only been in the school district for 2 years. My daughter's in 8th grade, and I have one in kindergarten. So I was just perplexed, and she sent me the voicemail, and I was just dumbfounded at how would you, number one, you insert yourself in a situation that you have no business being, and number two, you break confidentiality agreement because they're not to disclose anything regarding any complaints to any non-district employee.
Right. This is Sydney Cohen, the president of the East Pennsboro Education Association, who contacted your mutual friend, correct?
Right. And for your listeners, that means she's the local chapter union president.
Right. All right. So we got a minute left. So just tell me real quick, where are we going from here?
Well, I mean, she made the comment. I'm going to be addressing the school board tonight. I'm going to my main focus is bringing balance back in the classroom. For your listeners, I started a Facebook page called Balance in the Classroom. Just search for it. Please join.
All right. That's
all I want. I don't want
that sounds good, and we'll follow up with you. I appreciate you coming on, Josh. Thank you. Good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Balance in the Classroom, folks, on Facebook. Check it out. I know I will. Very, very troubling story. But you know what? This is how you're viewed. If you buck the trend, if you buck the liberal trend, especially in school, you don't want to be a troublemaker for your kid, right? God forbid you're a neo-Nazi. Leave us teachers alone. Leave the radical left alone. Steve Malzberg Show, Newsmax TV and radio.